Hey everyone, so this is Catfish, the TV show, season 5, episode 20, and this is the finale, so we won't get new episodes until maybe, possibly, after February, at the earliest, for season 6. But anyway, let's get on to the episode. The catfish's name is Andrew. The catfisher's name is Zach. So basically, the story is Andrew's friend, or has this friend named Marion, who is writing in on Andrew's behalf. And Andrew has just relocated to California, and he's supposedly been talking to this guy named Zach from Tinder. And she believes that Andrew is being catfished. So that's what she's writing in. Andrew continues to talk to Zach, even with the red flags Zach is really, raising and everything. So, some of the things are like, he's never video chatted or even talked on the phone. And she's concerned because she and Andrew have, kind of met on just similar circumstances. I mean, maybe not on Tinder, but they've met online. So she's kind of concerned that because obviously everyone on the internet is not always who they claim to be. So anyway, so after reading the email that Marion sends in, Neve and Max call her on Skype as per usual. And so she explains that she believes because every person Andrew's met online has been who they say they are, that Andrew believes everything, meeting everybody on the internet will go off without a hitch, basically. So she says, so she was told by Andrew that she met the guy on Tinder. And she's like, oh, well, then you've met him, right? Because that's what she's asked him when she was told about Zach. He's like, no, I haven't. And she's like, well, if you've never talked on the phone, or if she's like, have you ever talked on the phone? He's like, again, no. So she tells him that he's being catfished, and he's like, well, what the fuck is that? He apparently has no idea what being catfished means. So I'm not gonna get into that. That's way too damn easy, but okay. Anyway, Angie knows she has contacted Catfish, so they bring him into the Skype call, and then Marion, hangs up. So they talk to Andrew for a little bit, and he talks about Zach. Zach is a CrossFit trainer, and he is living in Santa Cruz at the moment, I think, and he's going to be moving to San Francisco soon. So Neve is like, well, then living in a different city explains why you can't, meet up in person. But Andrew says that he's concerned because Zach always has an excuse to never talk on the phone, which it's like, come on, really? Anyway, so Andrew is living in LA, and since Neve and Max are currently in LA, they decide to, hang up on Skype and go meet him at a local coffee shop. So once they're there, Neve asks about Tinder and how many potential matches he's gotten, and he says he's got either over 800 or almost 800. Neve asks what the usual progression of his Tinder matches are, and they're like, hi, how are you? Want to meet for coffee? Here's a dick pic. Basically, that's the whole thing. It's like right off the bat, he's getting dick pic offers. That's usually how it goes. Usually, it gets sexual in nature, like right off the bat, basically. And apparently, Zach is unlike that. Neve and Max then look at the text exchange between the two, and then look at Zach's profile. Then the clip that I was talking about earlier, my predictions, comes on, and Zach's like, or not, Andrew was like, Zach's the hottest guy on Tinder from Maine, and all this stuff, and People Magazine had put him as that and everything, and then Andrew's like, oh well, Zach from Maine isn't real, and like I said in my predictions earlier, Max is really the one who does this, but even Max pretty much shut that shit down really quickly, like 2 seconds. Like they as soon as he starts saying it, they're like, no, there's no way. If People Magazine is doing any sort of like, paragraph, any sort of like issue on a person, on a specific person or multiple people, they're gonna get their facts straight, because if they don't, they're gonna get sued because someone, the real person, had their identity taken, or identity stolen, and they help perpetuate it or something like that. I don't know. Maybe that's possibly what I'm thinking. That's why magazines won't do that. Won't not check their facts, because if they do, they're gonna get in big trouble for it. So yeah, there's no way that this guy, this Zach Miller from Maine, is not the real person. So Neither asks Andrew if Andrew can have any of the hottest gay guys in LA, and he knows Zach is lying to him, why keep on going with the whole meeting Zach thing and figuring out who Zach is? And Andrew's like, well, if there's a 99 to 100% probability or possibility that Zach isn't who he says he is, then I want to be able to see if he's attractive enough so I can continue dating him. I already kind of got that out of my system with the whole predictions thing, so I'm not going to keep going over it about what I think with other episodes, so I'm just going to keep going. So Andrew feels like he's falling in love with Zach, and even Max asks him to send him all the info he has on Zach before they leave to go investigate. So later, they go look up the real Zach Miller on Facebook. I wasn't too sure if it was Facebook, because I don't think they had said it in the clip, so I wasn't sure what social media what social media website they were using to look up Zach Miller. But anyway, it's on Facebook, and apparently he knows someone has been using his pictures online, and they're living in New Zealand. And then someone posted on that status that soon enough he'll be on Catfish. So they send Zach a message on Facebook. They then send a message to a girl named Elizabeth, who appears to be his best friend since college. Then they look up one of the phone numbers Zach says he uses. The first phone number comes out with a woman named Stacy in Monterey, California. Then they look her up on Facebook, but none seem to be in America, let alone California. So they run the first number again, but through a different website, and they come up with a guy named Johnny in Seaside, California, which is if you don't know, it's in Monterey County. And it comes up, and Johnny's last name is the same as Stacy's last name from the first website. They look up Johnny on Facebook and find a guy in Orange, California, not Orange County. Sorry, I didn't say Orange County, so sorry about that. I want to say that it didn't really seem like this guy from Orange, California, really was the catfish. It just, I don't know. It seems a little bit too easy to get to that guy, so I figured it wasn't him. Anyway, so Neve says that the two people with the same last name could be brother and sister or mother and son. Max says, well, they could be husband and wife. And then Neve then suggests that Johnny could be a married man who is exploring sexuality on the down low. So that would explain why he would not talk on the phones, because his wife would ask who are you talking to and all this stuff. Then they get a call from Elizabeth. Zac apparently has had more than 50 or 60 fake profiles of him created, with not only his pictures but his real name and everything. Then Elizabeth gives them Zac's phone number. They try to call Zac, but they only get his voicemail. So they leave a voicemail, or either they leave a voicemail or send a text. I don't remember. Anyway, wait until Zac calls back to go any further with anything. Then they go to Angie's house later and tell him about the news they found, the phone numbers, the names attached to the phone numbers, the Facebook pages, and contact Elizabeth and the real Zac. Then they try to call Zac back again, and when he answers, they explain the situation to him. And Neve says that when they looked up the phone number, it came back to someone named Johnny. And then Max is like, well, does that name sound familiar? And then Zac's like, well, there's this guy, there's this guy who contacted me 2 weeks ago, who confessed to me that he was using my pictures and my name to deceive people, and that he just wanted to admit that. So Zac gives a screenshot of the profile who sent him that, and the name associated with the account is Johnny. So when they get the screenshot, look the guy up on Instagram, and his last name is the same last name of the guy they found, associated with the phone number. They say that he isn't bad looking, so there's no reason for him to hide his face, unless, like Max brings up again, he's not out yet or something else. Neve then says they need to reach out to him and right then, but as he's calling, Angie's like, he won't answer, so they end up texting him. Johnny texts back saying, hey, it's Zac. Like, he's still trying to go with the whole ruse, and says, hey, what can I do for you, whatever. Neve says that he knows he's not the real Zac, and that Andrew's wanting to meet the real him, but Zac is saying he has anxiety, needs to think about it, and they decide to go to Seaside anyway the next day. And so the next day, Neve, Max, and Andrew fly to Seaside, or before they actually fly over there, Neve says that he got a text from Johnny after leaving the previous day, before they go to the airport, but Andrew hasn't. He still hasn't gotten any response from Johnny. So after they make their way to Seaside, or to the airport in Seaside, they start driving, and Johnny still hasn't gotten back to Andrew. So Andrew decides to text him anyway, again, and says they're on the way. Johnny says he's by the wharf. So that's where they go, is to the wharf. Then he's like, the one thing I didn't lie about is my age. I'm actually 24 years old. And he admits that he contacted the real Zac Miller. Johnny isn't out to his family. Not that fucking surprising at all. So he made the Zac Miller profile to see if he and his ex, who was the first guy he ever dated, and his first kiss apparently, and so he basically wanted to see if he and his ex would match, but they never did. Then one night he got drunk and swiped right on a bunch of guys, hundreds of guys, and the next day he got hundreds of swipes back on Zac's fake profile, and apparently only got 10 on his real profile or something like that. Just fucking spare me, okay? Spare me the fucking, I only got a handful of fucking swipes and shit. Just no. Fucking no. So basically, um, he says he hasn't come out to his family because he doesn't want to disappoint them. And his mother says she always wanted grandchildren, but Max says he can always have children. And Johnny says, well, he can always adopt. But I got the impression that what he meant was, um, he wouldn't be able to have kids biologically. I guess you could say, quote unquote, the normal way, whatever the fuck that means. Well, no, I know what the fuck that means. I mean, anyway, basically, like, she wouldn't have kids the normal way. You would have to have a surrogate to have kids, or yeah, you basically have to have a surrogate to have kids, basically, with his partner. So he wouldn't have it the normal way. So I have a feeling that's what he meant, was that his mother would want him to have kids the normal way. So that's why he was like, that's why he said that. And that's why he felt like he was going to disappoint her. That's what I felt like he meant. So, anyway, so they kind of part ways for the day. And so the next day, Neve and Max go back to Andrew's room and they talk about what he and Zach had talked about. Andrew explains that he doesn't feel like anything will happen because he feels like Johnny is still trying to get his ex back, which I'm not that opposed to that idea, because it seemed like Zach was, talking about his ex all, like, a lot. Like, a lot. The previous day. And it's like, even after Neve and Max had left. So, yeah, I'm not... I feel like that is very true, that he really was still hung up on his ex, no matter if he was interested in Andrew. I have a feeling, now that I think about it, that Zach's ex looks a lot like Andrew. So that's why he took an interest in Andrew, is because his ex looks like a lot like Andrew. That's just me speculating. I'm assuming, because, I mean, if he's talking about his ex a lot, that's why I'm thinking that he picked Andrew because he looks like his ex. I don't know. Anyway, so they go back to the wharf and meet Johnny, and Andrew explains that they can just remain friends, but before they go their separate ways, Andrew says if Johnny needs someone to go to the baseball game next weekend, he'll ride a train up and go with him and everything, and yada yada yada. So 1 month later, Johnny has come out at least to his sister, and she's gonna support him in, coming out to his parents whenever he's ready and all this. So anyway, yeah, I don't know. I just felt like now that I had time to think about it overnight, I think, yeah, he was really hung up on his ex, and I'll go so far as to say that Andrew may even look a lot like his ex. So yeah, I don't know. My prediction was completely off yesterday about Zach being someone that Andrew knew. I was completely wrong about that. I'm not afraid to admit it. So, maybe next time my predictions for Catfish will come true. I don't know. Anyway, so, that's the whole episode. I can't wait till Catfish comes back on, but I know it's not going to come back on until at least after February, if that soon. So, whenever Catfish comes back on, I will be here to recap and review it. And but I will say that this second half of the season seemed really meh. It just seemed really meh. So I don't know. I don't know if I will continue past this first half of season 6 of Catfish and recapping and reviewing it. If anything, I will at least do the first half of season 6, and if they even have a season 6, and then I will see what happens then, and see, what they come up with. But if it's very lackluster to me as the second half of the season has been of season 5, then I won't be recapping Catfish anymore. I'll be watching it. I'll watch it, but I don't know. It just seems really meh to me. So I mean, I know I've only been recapping and reviewing Catfish the last like 7-8 episodes, but I mean, it's not really my fault that Catfish has been getting kind of disappointing lately. It's really Catfish's fault in my opinion. But anyway, so I will go and see you guys in the next recap of any of the shows that I will recap and review, and I will see you then. Bye.